Think Captain Jack Sparrow was just a Hollywood invention. Not quite. 3 centuries before Johnny Depp staggered across the deck of the Black Pearl, the Mediterranean already had a swaggering trickster whose life reads like a deleted Pirates of the Caribbean script. His name was Jack Ward, sometimes spelled Birdie, sometimes Ward, and sometimes just that English scoundrel who stole my ship. He was clever, greedy, occasionally heroic, and almost never sober. Sound familiar? Ward was born around 1553 in Faversham, a quiet port town in Kent, England. As a boy, he worked the docks, soaking up sailor slang, and probably a few gallons of rum long before he turned 15. England under Elizabeth I was buzzing with seafaring energy. Privateers, merchants, and the occasional accidental pirate cruising the channel. Ward fit right in. He served in the English Navy, fought against the Spanish, and developed a reputation for quick thinking and quicker hands. If you imagine a young Jack Sparrow grinning through a cloud of gunpowder smoke, you are not far off. But Navy life was dull, pay was late, and discipline was a real buzzkill. By 1603, after years of thin wages and thicker rules, Ward and a few like-minded shipmates simply said, "Forget this," and sailed away with a stolen vessel, instant career change, from underpaid sailor to full-time pirate. In the Pirates of the Caribbean universe, this is the moment the soundtrack swells and Jack shouts, "But why is the rum gone?" while stealing someone else's ship. Ward's talent for improvisation turned him into a legend almost overnight. He captured merchantmen off the English coast, then boldly struck into the Mediterranean, where Spanish galleons and rich Venetian traders offered better prizes. His trademark move was speed. Instead of lumbering warships, Ward favored light, fast vessels. Think of the Black Pearl outrunning the entire Royal Navy. Contemporaries said he could appear out of a morning mist, strike, and vanish before a cannon could be loaded. By 1605, his name terrified merchants from Gibraltar to Crete. Ward's biggest score came when he seized a massive Venetian ship called the Reniera e Soderina, crammed with silks, spices, and enough gold to make even Captain Barbossa raise an eyebrow. Historians estimate the haul at today's equivalent of tens of millions of dollars. English ballads quickly rebranded him Captain Ward, the very picture of a roguish sea dog thumbing his nose at kings and merchants alike. Naturally, England labeled him an outlaw and set a price on his head. Ward's response was pure Jack Sparrow. He did not slow down, he just changed the rules. He sailed to the North African port of Tunis, then a hub of the Ottoman Barbary coast, and offered his services to the local ruler. The Pasha welcomed the experienced English pirate, granting him protection in exchange for a cut of the loot. Ward promptly converted to Islam, taking the name Yusuf Reis, and proving he could reinvent himself faster than Jack Sparrow could swap allegiances. If this sounds like the plot of Pirates of the Caribbean 6, the Ottoman job it practically was. Ward now commanded a small fleet, raiding European shipping lanes under the Ottoman flag. Christian merchants cursed him, Ottoman governors cheered him, and English diplomats tore their hair out trying to explain how one of their own navy men had become the Mediterranean's most slippery corsair. Legends about his antics multiplied. Some said he dressed in outlandish silks and carried a pet parrot. Check that Sparrow box. Others claimed he kept a private harem, or that he once escaped a naval blockade by disguising his ship as a floating funeral procession. Contemporary reports describe him as both generous and ruthless, buying drinks for his crew one night and marooning a rival the next. Sailors who served under him told stories of sudden windfalls, endless rum, and a captain who could talk his way out of anything. A merry rogue. One English letter called him, "Though the devil keeps his accounts," and like Jack Sparrow, Ward had a gift for survival. He dodged capture by English, Spanish, and Maltese fleets for decades, aided by quick sails, hidden coves, and the occasional bribe. English authorities grumbled that the bird, as some nicknamed him, was everywhere and nowhere, a phantom with a grin. By the 1620s, Ward was fabulously rich, living in a lavish Tunisian palace with fountains, exotic gardens, and a wardrobe that would make even Captain Jack's bead-braided hair look minimalist. Yet, he never quite lost his taste for the sea or for causing trouble. Venetian records still list attacks by Yusuf Reis, the English renegade, well into his old age. But like any good pirate tale, the winds would eventually shift. By the 1620s, Jack Ward, now Yusuf Reis, was enjoying what every pirate dreams of, a retirement plan better than the Spanish treasury. He lived in a palatial home in Tunis with fountains, mosaic floors, and wardrobes stuffed with silks and jeweled daggers. Contemporaries claimed his dinner parties featured enough gold plates to outfit a royal wedding. If Jack Sparrow ever envied someone's lifestyle, it would be this English dock rat turned Ottoman VIP. But wealth didn't stop the rumors. Sailors whispered about a hidden fortune, buried somewhere along the North African coast. A hoard of Venetian gold that would make the dead man's chest look like a piggy bank. English balladeers turned Ward into a boogeyman for greedy merchants, singing that Captain Ward drinks from cups of Spanish coin, while honest men eat crumbs. The English government, still embarrassed that one of their own Navy veterans had gone full Sparrow, used him as a cautionary tale in pamphlets about treason and moral decay. Ward naturally ignored them. He kept raiding when it suited him, signing on for Ottoman campaigns against European shipping. Venetian records from the 1620s complain of the English renegade Yusuf, who darted in and out of the Adriatic like a phantom. His preferred tactics: surprise attacks, sudden alliances, dramatic escapes, read like a director's checklist for a Pirates of the Caribbean sequel. And he aged with style. Contemporary travelers describe an older Ward with a long white beard, wearing a turban threaded with jewels, and still drinking sailors half his age under the table. One English captive said Ward laughed like a man who knows every escape in the world, which might as well be Jack Sparrow's motto. He even managed something few pirates did: a relatively peaceful ending. Around 1622 or 1623, plague swept Tunis and finally caught the elusive corsair. Ward died in his 60s, not on the gallows, not in a sword fight, but in a comfortable bed. An ending that would have driven any Royal Navy officer mad with envy. No dramatic duel, no kraken, just a pirate quietly slipping into legend. Of course, the legend didn't stay quiet. English writers couldn't resist spicing up his life. Ballads turned him into a devilish rogue who sold his soul for treasure. Early historians exaggerated his fleets, his wealth, and his drinking capacity. By the 18th century, he was a stock character in pirate tales, the charming scoundrel with quick wits and quicker sails. When Hollywood went hunting centuries later for inspiration for a charismatic eyeliner wearing captain who survives by luck, charm, and implausible improvisation, Ward's story was sitting there like an unguarded chest of doubloons. Look closely and the parallels are hard to miss. Jack Sparrow's talent for switching allegiances. Ward served England, then the Ottomans, sometimes both in the same year. Sparrow's habit of turning every capture into an escape. Ward dodged the English, Spanish, and Venetians for decades. Even Sparrow's flair for dramatic entrances and exits mirrors. Ward's love of speed, disguise, and theatrical bravado. It is as if history handed Disney a ready-made character, minus the talking monkey. Ward's tale also shows that piracy wasn't just about theft, it was about adaptability. He started as a poorly paid sailor, reinvented himself as a pirate, then as an Ottoman admiral, and finally as a wealthy semi-respected retiree. Jack Sparrow might call that savvy, and he wouldn't be wrong. Today, historians place Ward among the great pirates of the Mediterranean, though he remains less famous than Caribbean names like Blackbeard. In Tunisia, Yusuf Reis is remembered as a skilled naval commander who brought wealth to the region. In England, he lingers as a folk villain, the sailor who betrayed his homeland for gold and freedom. And in pop culture, he lives on every time Captain Jack staggers across a deck, smirks at an enemy, and turns certain capture into another outrageous escape. Picture it. The Mediterranean sun, setting behind a sleek corsair ship, sails black against a crimson sky. A white-bearded captain raises a goblet, eyes twinkling with mischief. Is it Jack Ward or Jack Sparrow? At this point, does it even matter? One was real, one is Hollywood, but they share the same sly grin that says, "Why fight when you can outsmart?" And that's the enduring magic of Jack Ward. The original Jack who proved that with enough charm, speed, and rum, you don't need a magic compass to find freedom. You just need the nerve to steal a ship and never look back.